This is Dennis Michelson. It's time to go down on the farm and tell you about a couple of great products from our friends at Loveland Products that you, of course, can get from your local Nutrien Ag Solutions dealer. And joining me on the hotline to tell you all about it, it's Scott Lay. Scott, great to have you back.
Dennis, always a pleasure to be with you and your listeners as our fall harvest season wraps up in many geographies.
Well, today we want to talk about Titan XC and Extract PBA, two of the fine products that you are familiar with. I'm hearing from a lot of the agronomists from the universities that they said, hey, with these excellent yields that we've had the last few years, you've taken even more nutrients out of the soil than ever before. And it's very important to recharge those nutrients this fall.
Yields are removed. Tremendous number of nutrients are also removed from the soil profile. It's important over time to replenish those, as you referenced, and also utilize technologies that increase the availability of those nutrients that you're paying for. And again, with a year like this, with commodity prices diminished to 15 to 20% relative to a year ago, every dollar counts. We understand that. So there may be instances where those fertilizer rates are being scrutinized or perhaps even decreased in some instances. So even given the economic scenario, the question of how we get increased nutrients available to that crop next spring and summer becomes even more important.
And I heard from some local producers that told me, Dennis, the only way I can assure that I make more money or make some money this year is by growing more bushels. So it doesn't really pay to cut back on your game plan unless you can use a product like Titan XC, because they'll get more out of the dry fertilizers they're already applying.
That's correct. And we've had Titan on the market since 2013. In fact, this fall, somewhere in the Midwest, we will treat the 100 millionth acre of Titan over the last 11 years. So it's proved itself over time to increase. And again, we have a number of university studies that we've referenced over time that indicate we're increasing the first-year availability of phosphorus by 15 to 20%. As it relates to potash, that number is an increase of about 10% in first-year availability. So, the value is there. The benefit is very consistent.
What I like about the game plan that you have had for testing Titan XC is you test it against using just the dry fertilizers alone, and it really gives you an idea of how to calculate that ROI when you know what there is in additional bushels.
That's right. And again, Titan is a complement to traditional fertility practices. It's certainly not a replacement. Again, if we're able to increase that availability of the plant, that translates to yield. As it relates to corn, over hundreds of third-party and farmer split-field trials, that average yield response in corn is just a shade above 10 bushels per acre. As it relates to soybeans, the yield response on average, again, over the last decade, has been right at 4 bushels. So the economics are very consistent. Titan proves itself again and again.
Scott, this fall has been exceptionally dry. Any concerns with the exceptionally dry weather when using Titan XC?
But Titan actually, again, if we're applying dry fertilizer prills, it goes without saying moisture is needed at some juncture to mineralize those prills. It stands to reason then that if we're applying a technology, the biochemistry in Titan, that increases that availability, that rate of mineralization or breakdown, again, it's not a replacement for moisture, unfortunately, or precipitation, but Titan performs very well in dry or wet conditions.
The other product that I want to bring up today is Extract PBA. First of all, tell folks how that works and what it's all about and when you apply that product.
Yeah, Extract is a liquid product combining the power of our biochemistry components and ammonium thiosulfate. We created this product 7 or 8 years ago for the purpose of accelerating nutrient mineralization and release in the soil. Again, those are nutrients that are already there, perhaps bound to the soil colloid, and also accentuating or enhancing the level of breakdown of crop residue. So in a year where we have, in some areas, record corn yields, with record corn yields comes record amounts of corn residue. that become available to that crop at some point in the future. If we are applying extract in a broadcast application with a fall herbicide, or in the spring with a broadcast application of a pre-herbicide, we're able to increase that mineralization release of nutrients in the soil, while also, if it's in a minimum till situation, enhance that breakdown of the residue and getting that residue into more of a plant available form more quickly.
And Scott, I understand that both of these products, Titan XC and Extract PBA, have been very successful in all kinds of tillage game plans.
They have, and that's what we learned with Extract. Initially it was targeted more towards the corn acre, and we've had great success with it on corn. But as time has evolved, again, this year's corn is next year's soybeans in most of our farm operations. So that need for mineralization or breakdown of the residue is perhaps even more important in the soybean crop. So as time has went on, we probably treat almost as many acres of soybeans with Extract as we do corn. And again, that wouldn't happen if the consistency of result was not there.
And Scott, when I look at the data on both Titan XC and Extract PBA from the third party and university trials, I see a lot of pictures here in my area. And you guys have been testing these products right in our own backyards.
That is the case. The University of Illinois at Champaign, we've worked with since 2012. Our friends in the Hoosier State and West Lafayette at Purdue have had a lot of experience in trials, and again, in real farm split field trials, where we can evaluate how the technology performs in a range of soil conditions or soil organic matters and growing conditions. That's where the proof is in the pudding. And again, the consistency and yield response, whether we're talking about Extract as a broadcast application or Titan impregnated on dry fertilizer, those results have been pretty darn consistent.